Welcome back to the deep dive. So our whole mission here, as always, is pretty simple.
You give us a stack of sources, we do the digging, and we pull out what you actually need to know. Actionable insight.
And today we are plunging into the very green and often very debated world of matcha.
We are. And this deep dive is specifically for you, Elton.
That's right. So, Elton, just to recap for everyone, you're 71, a stroke survivor, and you're really focused on a mostly plant-based diet.
And your routine is great. 2 cups of coffee to get going, then you switch to a chai and white tea blend, and later on a lemon ginger tea.
And your question, which is a fantastic one, is basically this. Is there any real science-backed benefit to adding a teaspoon of matcha into that daily routine?
Right, and we're going to look at the hard science. We're focusing on gut health, brain health, heart health, and we're definitely going to tackle that claim about L-theanine.
Oh, yeah, the idea that it somehow tames the caffeine.
Exactly. Does it really work?
Okay, but before we get into any of that, we have to make one thing crystal clear. For you, Elton, and for everyone listening.
Yes. A non-negotiable rule.
When you say white tea, you mean the actual tea leaf, Camellia sinensis. You do not mean tea with milk in it.
And that is so critical. The sources are incredibly consistent on this. Adding dairy milk to tea, any tea, matcha included, is just counterproductive.
It actually works against you.
It does. The proteins in the dairy literally bind to the antioxidants, the catechins, and just neutralize them. They can't be absorbed.
So, Elton, you're already on a plant-based diet, which is perfect. You're already winning. But for everyone else, that is rule number 1.
No dairy in your tea if you want the health benefits, period.
Okay, let's start at the top. The big marketing claim is always about nutritional density. Why is matcha supposedly so much better?
I mean, if it all comes from the same plant as your white tea, what's the big deal?
Exactly. What's the difference?
Well, it really comes down to 2 huge changes in how it's prepared. It's about how it's grown and how you consume it. So think about your normal cup of tea. It's an infusion. You put the leaves in hot water, the good stuff dissolves into the water, and then what do you do with the leaves?
You throw them out.
You throw them out. You're throwing out all the fiber, all the insoluble parts of the plant.
You're just drinking the flavored water, basically.
Precisely. Now, with matcha, first, the plant is grown in the shade for the last few weeks. This forces it to produce more chlorophyll and, really importantly, more of those amino acids like L-theanine.
Okay, so that's step 1.
Step 2 is that they take the entire leaf, grind it down into this incredibly fine powder, and you whisk that powder into your water and drink the whole thing.
The whole leaf.
The whole leaf. You're not throwing anything away.
So because you're actually eating the plant matter, the concentration of everything just goes through the roof. The fiber, the vitamins.
Exactly. It's what we call the whole leaf advantage. You're getting things that aren't even water soluble, like certain carotenoids, dietary fiber, and fat soluble vitamins like vitamin K.
And the numbers on this are pretty wild.
They are. The most quoted stat, and that's a solid one, shows that matcha can have up to 137 times more antioxidants, specifically that big one, EGCG, than a regularly brewed cup of green tea.
Whoa, hang on. 137. I mean, that sounds like a marketing number, not a science number. Is that for real?
It is, but you have to understand why. You're comparing, maybe 10 or 20% extraction from steeping.
Right.
To consuming 100% elite. So the math just, it just works out that way. It's a huge difference.
And compared to, say, the lemon ginger tea you drink in the afternoon.
Oh, there's no comparison. Herbal teas like lemon ginger are great for other things, hydration, soothing qualities, but they just don't have the same level of polyphenols and minerals as the Camellia sinensis plant.
So for you, Elton, adding that teaspoon of matcha isn't a small tweak. It's a fundamental upgrade to what you're already doing.
It really is.
Okay, so that leads to your next question. You mentioned mixing it into your chai and white tea blend. Is that a good idea? Or should it be consumed on its own?
No, that's actually a great idea. The sources say that mixing it is a really smart way to do it.
Why is that?
Well, for one, you can create some really interesting synergies with the compounds from other teas like black or oolong. But also, let's be honest, the flavor of straight matcha can be pretty intense.
A little grassy.
A little grassy, a little strong. So blending it can make it much more palatable, which means you're more likely to stick with it.
Makes sense. But this brings us back to preparation, and we have to hammer this home again. The milk issue.
We have to. If you're going to make a matcha latte and you want the health benefits, you have to use a plant-based milk.
And are some better than others?
Yeah, you want to go for pure, unsweetened options. Things like almond, cashew, maybe a good organic soy. things with lower protein content.
And what should we avoid?
Definitely stay away from the sugary grain milks like oat or rice milk,
Yeah.
and be really careful with the barista blend versions.
Ah, because they add oils and stuff to make it froth better.
Exactly. Oils, emulsifiers, things you just don't need that can interfere with absorption. Just keep it clean and simple.
Which brings up quality. I mean, if you get bad matcha, it's bitter, and then you're tempted to add sugar, which defeats the whole purpose.
Quality is everything. You really want to look for ceremonial grade. It should be a super vibrant, almost electric green. The powder should be incredibly fine, like talc.
And it tastes different, right?
Totally different. Smoother, a little sweeter, has that umami flavor. If your matcha is bitter and yellowish green, it's probably low-grade culinary stuff, and it won't have the high amino acid content we're about to talk about.
Okay, let's get into that. Gut health. This was a big one for you, Elton. Is there research that shows matcha does something different for the microbiome than just regular tea?
Oh, yes. This is where that whole leaf advantage really shines. We looked at a specific human study randomized double-blind where people consumed matcha green tea or MGT for just 2 weeks.
Only 2 weeks. That's not a lot of time.
It's not, which makes the results even more impressive. They found that the matcha group had a significant change in what's called their beta diversity.
Okay, stop there. Beta diversity, what exactly does that mean for us?
Right, so good question. It's basically the overall, the composition. It's the difference in the types of bacteria you find between the two groups. The matcha groups saw a huge shift.
How huge?
The study found changes in the amounts of 30 unique bacterial genera in the matcha group. The placebo group, only 3.
Wow. Okay, so it's definitely doing something in there. Was it something good?
It was. 2 findings really stood out. First, they saw a big increase in a type of bacteria called Cuprococcus
And why do we want more Cuprococcus?
because it's a primary producer of butyric acid.
I've heard of that. That's a short-chain fatty acid, right?
It is. Think of it as premium fuel for the cells that line your colon. It reduces inflammation. It strengthens your gut barrier. In fact, patients with IBD often have very low levels of Cuprococcus.
So matcha is helping to feed the good guys that literally repair your gut wall.
That's the idea. And at the same time, the second finding was a significant decrease in a bacterium called Fusobacterium.
And I'm guessing that one's not so good?
Not at all. It's linked to inflammation, IBD, and even colorectal cancer.
So it's a 1-2 punch. It feeds the good guys and starves out the bad guys.
Exactly. And the theory is that the insoluble fiber in the matcha acts as the food, the prebiotic for the Coprococcus, while the high concentration of catechins acts like an antimicrobial against the Fusobacterium.
That is really compelling. You just don't get that from steep tea.
You don't.
Okay, let's pivot from the gut to the brain. This is the claim everyone hears, Elton, the one you asked about. The caffeine paradox.
Right, the promise of calm, focused energy. No jitters, no crash, and it won't keep you up all night.
So is it real?
It is. But, and this is a huge but, it's only real under very specific chemical conditions. It is not a guarantee just because you bought something called matcha.
Okay, explain that.
So matcha has L-theanine. That's the amino acid that promotes relaxation and focus without making you sleepy.
The calm part of the equation.
Exactly. But it also has a lot of caffeine and that antioxidant EGCG.
Yep.
Both are stimulants. And here's the kicker. The research shows that both caffeine and EGCG actively work against the calming effect of theanine.
They cancel it out.
They can, yeah. They antagonize it. So it becomes this molecular tug-of-war inside your body.
And the winner depends on the specific powder you're drinking.
Precisely. For the calming effect to win out, the amount of theanine and another amino acid, arginine, has to be high enough to overcome the stimulants.
Is there a specific threshold?
There is. The researchers actually found a tipping point, a literal mathematical ratio. The molar ratio of the stimulants caffeine plus EGCG to the calming compounds, theanine plus arginine, it has to be less than 2.
Less than 2. And if it's higher than 2?
If it's higher than 2, the calming effects are overwhelmed, and you're essentially just drinking a strong green-colored cup of caffeine. You lose that unique benefit.
That's a massive insight. And it makes me think, how on earth is a regular person like Elton supposed to know that ratio when they're buying a tin at the store?
That is the million-dollar question.
Yeah.
And the answer is you can't. They don't print it on the label.
So it's a gamble.
It is. And it's why quality and sourcing are so important. That ceremonial grade stuff, the shade grown, the early harvest, that's all done specifically to maximize the amino acids like theanine.
So the vibrant green color and the less bitter taste are actually clues that you've got a better ratio.
They're the best clues you have as a consumer,
Yeah.
yes. It suggests you're getting the cognitive benefits and not just a pricey jolt of caffeine.
Which is really important for overall health, too. I mean, heart health and all the other claims are tied to those same antioxidant compounds.
Absolutely. The catechin support cell health, fight oxidative stress, all the things that help prevent chronic diseases like heart disease.
Okay, so the benefits are clear, but we do need to talk about one very important safety note for you, Elton, specifically because you're on a plant-based diet.
Yes. This is a crucial point about iron absorption.
What's the issue?
Matcha, because it's the whole leaf, is very high in compounds called tannins. And tannins can bind to a certain type of iron, non-hummy iron, which is the kind you find in plants, and block your body from absorbing it.
So if you're relying on plants for your iron, which you are, this could be a problem.
It could be. For most people, it's not a big deal, but for anyone on a vegan or vegetarian diet or somebody who's already low in iron, it's something you have to manage.
So what's the fix? Do you have to stop drinking it?
Not at all. There are two really simple tweaks you can make.
Okay.
First one is just timing. Don't drink your matcha with your meals. Have an hour or two before or an hour or two after.
So it's not in your stomach at the same time as your iron-rich food.
Exactly. You give the iron a head start to get absorbed without interference.
That's easy enough. What's the second tweak?
Pair your meals with vitamin C. So add citrus, bell peppers, broccoli, things like that. Vitamin C is amazing at boosting iron absorption, and it basically cancels out the negative effect of the tannins.
Okay, so timing and vitamin C. Got it. And how much should you be drinking a day?
Moderation is key. About 1 to 3 grams, which is basically one standard serving or 1 cup a day, is the sweet spot.
All right, so let's bring this all home for Elton. Your original question, is it worth adding that teaspoon of matcha? Based on the research, the answer seems to be pretty strong, but qualified, yes.
It is. So to sum it up, 1, you get that massive nutritional density from the whole leaf, huge antioxidant boost. 2, you get real positive changes to your gut microbiome.
Boosting the good guys, kicking out the bad.
Right. 3, you can get that calm, focused energy, but, and it's a big but, you have to be super picky about getting high-quality, ceremonial-grade matcha to ensure you have the right chemical ratio.
And finally, because you're plant-based, just be mindful of that iron absorption. Drink it between meals and keep your vitamin C intake up.
And that kind of brings us to the final thought, the thing to really chew on here. The deep dive reveals that the question isn't just, does matcha work? It's, does the matcha you just spent your money on actually work?
Right. That amazing calming energy isn't a property of the powder itself, but of a very specific and probably more expensive version of that powder.
It really forces you to ask, am I getting that unique, focused lift? Or am I just paying a premium for a high caffeine jolt that happens to be green?
A great reminder that the benefits are in the details, not just the label. That's all the time we have for this deep dive. We hope this gave you the shortcut you needed.
Until next time.
Happy brewing!